Hello and welcome to MBAN 109. In this portion, we will tackle about the integration of rational functions by partial fractions. Before we proceed to the integration, reviewin muna natin kung paano nag-work ang partial fractions sa mga rational function. Mag-consider tayo ng isang rational function f of x na equal sa p of x over q of x, where both p of x and q of x are polynomial functions, and q of x is factorable. Kapag mas mababa ang degree ni p of x sa degree ni q of x, we can represent f as a sum of rational functions na may denominators na factors ni q of x. Otherwise, or kapag naman mas mataas ang degree ni p of x sa degree ni q of x, gagawin muna natin ang long or synthetic division para maging proper rational function ang f. Then magpo-proceed tayo sa partial fraction decomposition. Ibig sabihin nito, ang f natin ay kaya i-express as a polynomial plus some rational function na may degree ng numerator na mas mababa sa degree ni denominator. As an example, we suppose we have this f as a rational function, f of x equals x squared minus x minus 1 over x cubed minus 8. We are asked to represent this as a sum of rational functions. Take note na ang x cubed minus 8 here is factorable, and kaya natin itong split into two fractions na may denominators na factors ni x cubed minus 8. So we have this sum of rational functions, a over x minus 2 plus bx plus c over x squared plus 2x plus 4. Take note here na ang degree ng numerator ay laging 1 less than the degree of the denominator. So we have a over x minus 2, and we have here bx plus c over x squared plus 2x plus 4. Multiplying both sides by x cubed minus 8 gives us the second equation, x squared minus 1 equals a times x squared plus 2x plus 4 plus bx plus c times x minus 2. We can now solve for a first. Letting x equal to 2 makes c times x minus 2 disappear since it will equal to 0. And then we have 1 equals 12a by algebra, or that a is equal to 1/12. Now, kaya na natin isolve relatively easy ang b at ang c. We have this solution for c by letting x equal to 0 so that bx disappears, and we have this negative 1 equals 4a minus 2c. Alam na natin yung value ni a from our first solution, so that kaya natin i-substitute yung value ni a dito sa equation na ito, and then we have this equation, negative 1 equals 4 times 1/12 minus 2c. Simplifying further gives us c equal to 2/3. Now, kaya natin isolve ang value ni v. Letting x equal to 1 gives us this equation, negative 1 equals 7a minus b minus c. And from our first two solutions, nakita na natin kung ano ang values ni na a at c. So that meron na tayong ganitong equation na substituted na ang values ni na a at c. Simplifying further gives us b equal to 11/12. So that ang ating final answer for this is this sum of rational functions where a is equal to 1/12, b is equal to 11/12, and c equals 2/3. Substituting these values to our sum gives us x squared minus x minus 1 over x cubed minus 8 equals 1 over 12 times x minus 2 plus 11x plus 8 over 12 times x squared plus 2x plus 4. Now na na-review na natin ang partial fractions, we can now use this technique to integrate rational functions. For our first problem, we are asked to evaluate the integral of e raised to x over e raised to x minus 1 times the quantity e raised to x plus 4 dx. At this point, feel free to pause this video to try this on your own, and feel free to press play if you are done solving this so we can now reveal the answer. I assume na natapos niyo na i-solve ito, so sabay-sabay natin i-explore ang solution nito. Letting u equal to e raised to x and du equal to e raised to x dx makes this integral a rational function with polynomial functions. Since parang on the first glance, hindi natin siya nakikita as a polynomial, lalo dito sa denominator natin. Substituting u, we get this integral, the integral of du over u minus 1 times u plus 4. And naka-factor na ang ating denominator so that kaya natin siyang i-express as two fractions na may denominator u minus 1 on the first one and u plus 4 on the second one. So kaya na natin isulat ang integral natin as a sum of rational functions with this representation. So we have 1 over u minus 1 times u plus 4 equals a over u minus 1 plus b over u plus 4. Multiplying both sides by the denominator gives us this equation. Solving for the coefficients a and b, we first let u be equal to 1. So that b times u minus 1 will equate to 0. So that ang matitira sa atin ay by coefficient na a. So we have 1 equals 5a or that a equals 1/5. Letting u to be equal to -4 makes a times u plus 4 equate to 0. So that matitira sa atin ang coefficient na b. And we have 1 equals -5b or simply b equals -1/5. So now we obtain this integral as this representation. Ngayon, solving for this, kailangan mo natin i-factor out yung mga constants natin dito. So we have 1/5 times the integral of du over u minus 1 minus 1/5 times the du over u plus 4. And fairly enough, familiar na tayo sa integral na ito, which is just the natural logarithm of u minus 1 on this part and the natural logarithm of u plus 4 on this part. So now we have this solution. Ngayon, ibalik natin yung e to the x as replaced to u, as a replacement to u, and apply natin yung laws of natural logarithm so that we have this final answer. We have 1/5 times the natural logarithm of e raised to x minus 1 over e raised to x plus 4 plus some constant c sa dulo ng ating sagot. And that is our final answer to our integral on the first problem. The next problem tackles the same approach as we did in problem 1. So on the second problem, we are asked to evaluate the integral of 3 times cosine of x over sine squared x plus sine x minus 2 with respect to x. You are now free to pause this video para sagutan this on your own, and feel free to press play if you have done solving this integral. I assume na tapos na ninyo itong sagutan, so we can now proceed. Ganun pa rin, katulad ng una, para makikita natin na hindi siya isang polynomial function, lalo yun sa denominator. Pero by letting u equal to sine x, we have du equals cosine x dx, and kita naman natin itong component na ito dito sa numerator so that we can replace this by du and all the sine x's will be replaced by u. So that we now obtain this integral. Nilabas natin yung 3 na constant. So we have this integral of 3 times the integral of du over u squared plus u minus 2, which can be further simplified into this factor. We have 3 times the integral of du over u plus 2 times u minus 1. Consider this integral ngayon. Kaya natin i-represent ang integrand na ito as a sum of rational functions with just the same approach as our first problem. So we have 1 over u plus 2 times u minus 1 equals a over u plus 2 plus b over u minus 1. Multiplying both sides by the denominator pa rin gives us this equation. Solving for a and b, we first let u be equal to 1. So that 1 is equal to 3b or that b equals 1/3. Letting u be equal to -2 gives us 1 equals -3a, or that a is equal to -1/3. Substituting the values of a and b, makukuha na natin ang integral na ito. 3 times the integral of -1 over 3 times u plus 2 plus 1 over 3 times u minus 1 with respect to u. Fairly enough, kaya natin ilabas yung constant sa parehong integral so that we have this 3 times -1/3 times this integral plus 3 times 1/3 times this integral. Interestingly enough, kaya natin i-cancel yung 3 para ito ay maging negative at -1 at para ito ay maging 1. So that meron na tayong negative natural logarithm of u plus 2 plus natural logarithm of u minus 1 plus some constant c. Substituting back our original expression for u and applying the laws of natural logarithm gives us this final answer. We have natural logarithm of sine x minus 1 over sine x plus 2 plus some constant c as our final answer to this integral. For our last problem, medyo kailangan natin dito ng manipulation unlike sa na nating problems. Though, ang mga components ng numerator and denominator naman natin ay polynomials na. Let us proceed. For our last problem for this portion, we are asked to evaluate the integral of 2x squared minus 2x plus 3 over x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 with respect to x. Feel free to pause the video to answer this on your own, and feel free to press play when you are done solving for this integral so we can now reveal the solution. I guess you are done solving this, so let us proceed for the solution. We first manipulate the numerator to match the derivative of the denominator. Doing that, we are adding x squared and subtracting x squared to the numerator, and we are adding and subtracting 4 to the numerator so that it will come up nicely sa ating first integral. And simplifying further, makukuha na natin itong sum ng integrals na ito. On the first integral, we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 over x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 dx minus the integral of x squared minus 4. Ito ay nanggaling dito sa negative x squared at sa positive 4. Nagdag natin dito sa numerator na ito over x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 dx. Inspect natin yung first integral. By substitution, we get u to be equal to the denominator and du to be equal to the numerator dx. So that it will come up clean and nice as this integral du over u. And we know that the integral of this is just the natural logarithm of u plus c. And substituting back our original expression, we get the natural logarithm of x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 plus some constant c. And this is our first integral. Ngayon naman, isosolve naman natin yung second integral. Take note na yung x squared minus 4 at ang x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 ay factorable. So we now have this integral. So x squared minus 4 is equal to x plus 2 times x minus 2, and x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to this expression. And we can now cancel out both x minus 2 on the numerator and denominator. So now we are left with this. We are doing some manipulations para magkaroon tayo ng nice trigonometric substitution later on. So ginawa natin is decompose natin yung 1 into 1/4 and 3/4. And factoring out 1/4 on this equation, on this polynomial rather, and ilalabas natin yung -4, we now have this expression. Kita natin itong 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 ay equal sa 2x plus 1 squared plus 3. And familiar sa atin ito dahil ang form nitong denominator nito ay u squared plus a squared, which we shall require for a trigonometric substitution, as I have mentioned earlier. Letting a be equal to letting a to be equal to square root of 3, we have now u to be equal to 2x plus 1, and it is equal to square root of 3 tangent theta, so that x plus 2 is equal to square root of 3 over 2 tangent theta plus 3 halves. Now we have dx to be equal to square root of 3 over 2 secant squared theta. And 2x plus 1 squared plus 3 is now 3 times secant squared theta. After the substitution, that integral now becomes this integral with trigonometric functions. We have negative 4 times the integral of square root of 3 over 2 tangent theta plus 3 halves times square root of 3 over 2 secant squared theta over 3 secant squared theta d theta. Canceling out secant squared thetas and distributing the constants, we have now this integral of negative 4 thirds integral of 3 fourths tangent theta plus 3 square root of 3 over 4 d theta. Take note na nilabas natin yung 1/3 dito, kaya naging negative 4 thirds siya. Ngayon, ilalabas ulit natin yung mga constants para magkaroon tayo ng negative integral of tangent theta d theta minus square root of 3 integral of 1 d theta. And we know na itong integral ng tangent theta is just equal to the negative natural logarithm of cosine theta minus square root of 3 theta plus some constant c. Kaya ito naging positive dahil itong tangent theta ay may integral na natural logarithm of cosine theta times a negative dito pa sa labas. So, kaya siya naging positive. Ngayon naman, gagawin naman natin yung trigonometric substitution na nga. On this diagram, we can see that cosine theta is equal to square root of 3 over the square root of 2x plus 1 squared plus 3. And our theta is the inverse tangent of 2x plus 1 over square root of 3. Ngayon, i-convert natin yung variable theta pabalik kay variable z. So that we have this expression, the natural logarithm of cosine theta minus square root of 3 theta is equal now to the natural logarithm of square root of 3 over the square root of 2x plus 1 squared plus 3 minus square root of 3 inverse tangent of 2x plus 1 over square root of 3 plus some constant c. And that is our second integral. Ngayon, pagsasamahin natin yung dalawang nakuha nating integrals from our first and second integrals. So we have this natural logarithm of x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 from our first integral. And from our second integral, we get the natural logarithm of square root of 3 over the square root of 2x plus 1 squared plus 3 minus square root of 3 inverse tangent of 2x plus 1 over square root of 3. And by doing so, i-recall natin na ang ating original expression ay dinicompose natin into sum of two integrals. Kaya kapag kinumbine natin ng result niya, ang ating original integral na 2x squared minus 2x plus 3 over x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 dx ay equal sa natural logarithm ni x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2 plus natural logarithm of square root of 3 over the square root of 2x plus 1 squared plus 3 minus square root of 3 inverse tangent of 2x plus 1 over square root of 3 plus some constant c sa dulo. And this is your final answer to our third and last problem for this portion. I hope na-recall natin ang integration of rational functions by partial fractions. See you in the next video.